Welcome to Mixtapes. I'm your host, Eric Stanglin, and right next to me, as always, is my co-host, Mr. Mark Moots. Moots, what's going on this morning, my friend?
Well, sir, I think we're gonna dive deep into some changes.
Yes, and this is going to be an interesting one because it's going to be a Mount Rushmore, but maybe it doesn't even become a Mount Rushmore, and it just becomes a conversation.
Totally.
It could be one of these things today. Who knows? But it's something I've thrown around a lot over the years, and as I think about it more, I think it's an interesting conversation. So it's like maybe it's not a Rushmore. We'll find out. We'll see.
Could be.
You'll see with us as you're listening right now. The conversation point to a Mount Rushmore is the Mount Rushmore of Black Album bands. And what that means is like bands that put out a Metallica Black sounding record in that time period.
Yeah.
Because we know what that was like. We lived it. And we've talked a little bit about it on this show before. The Black Album was the album that, and when I call it a Black Album, I call it the album that makes the band do the big left hand turn into being not as metal, into being
Hmm.
more commercial, and I think in 91, after 91, I feel like there was a big left hand turn with a lot of those bands. And then I feel like the left hand turn, like they couldn't stay on that path because they didn't know how to.
Right.
And then I think there was a big problem because then you're in this weird purgatory of where do you go. So that's the conversation for today. I definitely can do four bands in this conversation for sure. But
Okay.
the thing I want to hammer home, if you're a new listener, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We've got a backlog, an archive of some great guests, interviews, segments. Thank you for listening to this show. I'm glad you found us, however you did, and spread the word if you could. Um, but I think Queensrÿche's Empire is literally the first Black album. Now, you could say Van Halen 5150 is, but
Hmm.
different singer, like I'm really talking about bands that are pretty much the same band intact that consciously move into a different direction in terms of being not as heavy. Because you can go the other way, like you can talk about Pantera, when
Hmm.
Pantera just continue to go, no, we're going straight ahead. We're going to be as metal as fuck on every record after the record that we just put out. Like, and
Sure.
they did that for a while where they did push extremes, right? I'm talking about the bands that went in the opposite direction. And I do think Queensryche's, and you are a, and I got Queensryche in an episode for you, like you always try to
Yeah.
do.
Thank you. Well, we were gonna get there either way.
Oh, we
So.
totally were. But that's that record that no one talks about. And I
Yep.
just was thinking about it one day with the student, and I'm like, that's the original Black Album.
So I agree with you. I think I remember when you referenced that to me. I went, it's a really good point.
Right.
And I don't disagree with it. I think that as a dyed in the wool Queensryche fan, especially following Mindcrime,
Right.
like it was like a head scratcher for me. And
And I like
I think there's
Empire.
good stuff on it.
Yeah.
I don't globally like that album, but I think there's cool stuff on it. Um, but so two thoughts came into mind, which will bring me to the first album I'm going to throw out at you.
Sure.
I think that you calling these albums black albums is you being really kind because usually what people call them is sellout,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so the only thing about Queensryche I will disagree with you is I don't think it's the first one. I don't even think Metallica is the first one.
Okay. I'm curious. What's the first one?
Turbo.
Ooh, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good because I remember hearing. Now
Mm,
Turbo is it 88 or is it
I think
86?
86, I think. Let me look it
And
up
Ram
real
It
quick.
Down's 88, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that fucking horrendous Johnny Be Good cover, which we've talked
That's
about
on
on the
Ram It
show.
Down. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
terrible.
But
Um,
but that was in a movie soundtrack.
it was on the Johnny B. Good soundtrack, starring, what was it, Anthony Michael Hall or something?
Was it? I thought it was in
Yeah.
a horror movie or something.
Mm-mm. No, they made
Okay.
it for that movie. He's like a basketball player. It was dog shit, just like the Priest cover. April 14th, 1986, Judas Priest released
Yeah.
Turbo.
You,
Um,
you know what's funny? You could say Iron Maiden somewhere in time is a Black Album too,
a little bit,
because
a little bit.
it definitely
Well, they did the same thing because both of them
right
started dabbling with keyboard slash
keyboards.
guitar synths.
Yes.
Um, like I Priest was my favorite concert. They're, I think, in my opinion, they're the heavy metal band. Um, I vividly remember being so excited about the new Judas Priest album because, like, I saw them in '84, I think it was,
Okay.
on the Defenders of the Faith tour.
Okay.
I was all in on Judas Priest,
Sure.
and then the first single is Locked In with the guitar synth
Right.
in the video. That's like really weird, and I was like, I mean, I want
Wait,
to
that
like
was the
it.
single? That was the first
Yeah,
single?
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, Turbo Lover, I believe, was the second single.
How did they not release Turbo Lover as the first single when the record's called Turbo?
I don't know.
And that
And
was
I mean,
so catchy.
Locked In is a good song. Turbo
Wow.
Lovers, I mean, Jesus Christ, people love it now. We all hated it then, though.
Right, because it was like that it was and it goes back to this conversation. I still remember hearing Enter Sandman
Sure.
before the album came out.
Oh
And
yeah.
I
No,
just had that very perplexed,
hmm.
like, yeah, huh,
Not yeah, yeah, huh.
yeah.
Um Turbo, I mean, Turbo has some good stuff. Out in the Cold is a great song. But like I would argue that's the one. That's the first one that I can remember like
I I
feeling the
I
change.
I
And
can't disagree with you, dude. I'll be really honest with you because that's 86,
yep,
Empire's 1990.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like impact wise, because that really and somewhere in time has to go in there somewhere too. Because I
Yeah.
know the diehard Maiden fans. See, it didn't bother me because I wasn't. I was a late bloomer on Maiden, like
Hmm.
so I liked them, and I'm a weird Maiden fan. The first thing I had was Maiden Japan because it was $5.
Sure.
That little EP at cassette,
Yep.
and then I would hear stuff. But the first Maiden record I bought when it was released was Seventh Son, and that is
Hmm.
my favorite Maiden record. Which people are like, "What?"
Yeah.
So Summer in Time didn't bother me. I thought Summer in Time was a good, but for the people that were like hardcore Maiden fans, they were like, I mean, because you could say after Killers, people are like, "What the hell?"
Well, totally. Yeah.
But that's a change of a singer. It doesn't fit
Yep.
what the
That's a
conversation.
different issue. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I can't disagree with that. I think that's. I feel like things are just kind of at the top right there, and then the next thing you know, it's like Metallica releases the Black Album,
Hmm.
and then there's a seismic change,
Oh yeah.
like a seismic change, and I think that's what we need to talk about today with this Mount Rushmore is that's the album. Like bands still put out heavy. I mean, shit, Metallica put out Justice after Turbo after
Yeah.
those like so but when Metallica put out the Black Album within the next 2 years, you saw that shift,
For sure. Yeah.
like crazy shift. And the thing is, we can't. I mean, we can talk about those names real quick, but then we don't have a Mount Rushmore anymore because it's too
Yeah.
obvious. I mean, I'll throw you ones that I maybe well. let's do one anyway, and then we'll fill in the blanks. How about that?
Okay, I
Okay.
think yeah, and again, I'll probably won't play by the rules entirely, but
Yeah, but
it'll
that's
be
how
a
the
good
show
time.
goes when we do these.
That's our dynamic.
Yes. So I am going to put, even though I said to you, Mindcrime is the first Black album, I am going to put the Black album as my number one. And I
Sure.
don't have them in order after that, but the Black album is the album, in my opinion, that changes the course of metal
Hmm.
and really splinters off everything.
Yeah.
And then within 5 years, you have like there's a time where you almost don't even have metal for a bit, even though it still
Yeah.
exists. It's a really weird. Like the '90s, and we've talked about the '90s. The '90s are a very interesting time in music. The '90s are a time where like the subgenres really go crazy, but
Hmm.
it's like we lose guitar solos.
Yep.
We like there's new metal, seven
Hmm.
strings, new metal,
Hmm.
like everything's fucking down tuned. I mean, not that didn't happen before with certain bands, obviously, but like it's a thing now.
Yeah.
So I think that record, you know, I mean, yeah, okay, that one's number one for me.
Okay. Okay. Um, I'm gonna just stick with what I said before because I
Sure.
think it's important. It's not my number one, but I think the Turbo has to be on the list
Yeah.
for me, and I am kind of leaning more like I like your term black albums, but also I'm kind of leaning into like straight up sellout,
Sure.
like
Sure.
obvious cash grab morphing into a more commercial entity on purpose kind of thing. And for me, following Defenders of the Faith with which I think is a great Priest album, and then coming in with Turbo, which is slicker and mechanized, and it felt very obvious what they were trying to do.
Yes. Yes.
So I think Turbo has to be on there for
Yeah,
me.
I totally understand that after talking about it. My number two is going to be obvious because you can't have one without the other. Countdown to Extinction by Megadeth.
Yeah, dude,
It's just
for sure.
it's the obvious one, and I will admit to the listeners and everybody that I don't dislike either one of these two records. I mean, I
Mm,
saw both these bands on those tours, um, and it's because I wasn't really allowed to go to concerts when I was younger. And
okay.
then, so like these were like, okay, yeah, I want to see Metallica for sure. And Metallica played a shitload of stuff from back in
Yeah.
the day too, so I was stoked. And then, Megadeth was another band I wanted to see, and I didn't get to see them until '92. And obviously, but like, they started off with Wake Up Dead, which was awesome. So it was like
Yeah.
I knew like okay, and Suicidal, was opening, so it was a great show. Um, it's just it's very just Black Album sounding. There's
Oh
a
yeah.
couple tunes I like, but like for the most part, it's like you go from Rust in Peace to this. It's like, whoa,
Mhm.
like that's just such a fucking left hand turn. Um, and it's funny too because as we talk about these records, and maybe not all of them today, who knows? Some of the biggest songs are on these records for
Oh
me.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's
like
the thing about it is it worked
it did work.
for some bands. For other bands, it didn't
Yes,
work quite
and
as
only
well.
for a short period of time.
Yeah,
This
but when it worked, it worked.
It did work, so Countdown's my number. I will say
Yeah.
Countdown's my number two. I will say that
Okay.
because it's just so obvious, right?
Yeah, I can't disagree with that, and that was definitely on my radar. We are running live, folks. I have no notes, so
Which is awesome. I don't
um,
either. I don't have any notes. I feel like I
yeah,
can do this one with no notes at all.
yeah. So I am going to throw a weird one out at you that I don't know if you'll
Okay.
get,
Uh-huh.
but in 1988, um, a band who I love and think are one of the heaviest and most important extreme metal bands ever, released a hair metal album. And Celtic Frost released an album called Cold Lake, and it is terrible. But like, I mean,
How'd you feel when that one hit?
pissed.
Yeah.
Like, I was so confused.
Yeah.
Like, I've never been more confused because if you know anything about Celtic Frost, like a lot of bands have covered them. I mean, Into Crypts of Rays and stuff like that. Like, they're a big thing, and they heavily influenced death metal and black metal.
Yes.
Tom Warrior is a genius, I think. and Celtic Frost was really experimental and really out there. Like they covered Mexican radio on one of their albums.
That's awesome.
That's not a great cover, but it was like they were one of the first extreme metal bands. It was like we're gonna do an orchestra and like
Sure.
we're gonna have a choir and
Just pushing
but it was
boundaries.
all yeah, it was all like terrifying and dark. Like the album they came out with years and years later, Monotheist, is, I swear to God, it's like there no light can escape that record. It is like a black hole of an album, and
Right.
I love everything about it. But they went from like leather and spikes and like proto corpse paint, like heavy black, like early Slayer, kind of
Yeah.
running down their face. And
Yeah.
then Cold Lake came and they were wearing shredded jeans with like leopard print and
So they
teased up
like,
hair and
so it was like
eyeliner.
everything.
They went full artard.
What's the story about that?
I don't really know because Tom doesn't talk about it. Like I think he doesn't even want it to exist. I do remember reading something where there was maybe a girlfriend who had some influence at one point.
Hmm.
They released a video for a song called Cherry Orchards, which the riff is great, but boy, oh boy, Tom can't sing. So him trying to do this kind of sleazy, it's bad. So that's the next record I'm going to put on there. I'll send you the video for Cherry Orchards.
Please
so
do.
you can, it's
Yes.
ludicrously terrible.
Interesting.
So that,
It's funny because I'm not going to put this as a Black Album one, but it's like the record that Halloween released after Keepers 2 is in that category. So the
like
pink uggles
pink,
go
pink
babe,
bubbles go
go
ape.
ape. Yeah, that's another one where it's like, what? Like,
Yeah.
but that's not a Black Album discussion.
No, it's different.
Okay, so my third one is an album I actually like,
Okay.
but it's a big departure.
Okay.
The Sound of White Noise, Anthrax.
Well, yeah, that's also would be probably my number one, actually. So,
Yeah, it's one of those records that, and I did not like it when it came out
yeah.
because I really liked Joey and I really liked Anthrax, even though Anthrax is a band that's funny to me because I feel like after Among, like there's too many misses on those records. Like, I mean,
Well, State of Euphoria is like
is
bad.
awful. That's just
Um,
the best song on that's the cover.
yeah, and I hate that cover.
See, I'd never heard the original, so I kind of liked it. You know what I
I
mean?
hate it mostly because if I ever hear it again, that'll be 10
Too
too
much.
many
Yeah.
times. I like I can't, and honestly, even Persistence, and we've talked about how I don't know that record, but like I don't want to hear Got the Time ever again.
No, it's way too much. That's an interesting dark record, though. I think that's the
what you
first record to
said.
start wearing black, all
Yes, it
black.
is.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? It's like they kind of are getting the memo, like, yeah, what they're wearing,
Board
stuff.
shorts and shit ain't working
Yeah.
anymore. Yeah.
So that's a kind of dark record. It's interesting. But like Among is one of my favorite records.
Great record.
Like by
Yeah.
just like in that genre. I really
Yeah.
love that record. And to go from that record to like misfire,
Mhm.
and then you put out, oh well, you know what? I can't count that record because it has a different singer.
I think it counts. I mean,
It doesn't count
mostly
for me though
because
because I literally said in the beginning of the conversation,
not because of member change.
yeah, like a singer change.
Yeah.
So I'm not
Yeah.
going to count it, but it could easily go on an honorable mention. But it was one of those records that I do feel like it was like, hey, we're going this way with Metallica. I
Right.
feel like that was really obvious. But listening to that record later on in my life, it's a really good record.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a really good record. And we'll talk about this after. So I'll keep it there. Give me your next one.
I'm gonna say The Ritual by Testament.
Yes.
It's just obvious.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
I thought Souls of Black a little bit,
Yes.
but man, The Ritual, they went full in on like, nope, it's a Black album.
It really
Just
is.
it just is. And I don't care for it. I know people who do, but
Yep.
like I maybe two songs that I could be like, oh yeah, that one. But like other than that, they're one of the bands, unlike Megadeth and Metallica, where it really worked. Testament, it did not help them at all.
Well, and that's the thing we're going to talk about in a minute because I don't think it helped any of those bands within 2 or 3 years.
Sure.
I really don't. And I think a lot of the bands we just mentioned had a huge crash
Mm-hmm.
in their career
Yeah.
after. I really do. That is my number four. That's so
Okay.
sorry that I got to ping pong right back to you.
Yeah.
But I do have some interesting honorable mentions for
Okay.
sure.
Cool.
And I have a weird honorable mention because I have a very weird honorable mention. So,
Okay.
yeah, the Testament one is another one where I remember hearing because that's the one that has the ballad, right?
No,
Like
the
the song, the
ballad is
ballad.
on Practice What You Preach.
What's the? Didn't they have another slow song on that record though? The Legacy.
Oh, the song The Legacy?
I don't know. Wasn't there? There
The
was
album, the Legacy is their first album.
not
That's
that
it.
Legacy. Sorry, the
Yeah.
one we just talked
Oh, The
about.
Ritual.
Yeah.
I don't
Wasn't
know.
there
I've
a
only
ballad
heard
on
the
that
album.
one that was
There
like?
probably is.
And I remember just hearing it going, "Oh yeah, what are we
Yeah.
doing?" Like that was,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm sure there was. To be perfectly honest, I'm operating on memory with The Ritual because I remember listening to it and being like, "Oh, nope,"
yeah, I was the
and
same
just
way.
never did it again.
Yeah,
Kind of like persistence of time, where I just was like, "Nope, I'm
yeah,
good."
yeah,
Um,
and it's, yeah. All right, so give me your fourth one, and then I'll give you an honorable mention, and then we'll kind of talk about what happens.
so you're telling me I can't say Sound of White Noise?
I don't think you can because the singer changes, and I
All
think
right.
it's one I in in
That was
beginning of the
that
conversation.
was the ground rules.
Yeah,
Okay.
because the singer can change everything.
So then, okay. So this is an album I actually do kind of appreciate, and I'll see if you'll allow this one.
Yeah.
I say Warrant Dog Eat Dog.
There's a big pause there. Sorry, audio listeners.
I just there was smoke coming out of his ears to be like, I don't know if that's true.
Well, here's
It's a
why.
shift,
It is
and it's a calculated shift, but
it is
oddly, it's the other direction.
yes, yes. And you know what? I'll allow it
Cool.
because it is a shift. That's
Yeah.
and it's funny because if you do that, well, no, you can't. Never mind. I was going to say Motley Crue, but with our buddy Karabi, but you can't do that because it's a new singer.
Yep.
Because I do think new singers, yes, I will easily accept that one because
Yeah.
that I know probably had all the soccer moms going, "What the fuck?"
Oh yeah.
You know. But I honestly think that's an interesting record that a lot of people didn't understand at the time. But then if you
Hmm.
kind of like let it breathe a bit, there's tunes on that record that are interesting, like very, and it's the first record I believe that Joey actually, I think both of them played all the leads on.
Yeah. I think that was the first
Yeah, so they didn't have,
actual band.
yes, and have outside
Mike Slammer
players.
got the day off.
Yeah, right. He was working
Um,
on another record.
yeah.
Um, that's a good choice, honestly, because
Yeah, I figured it was that or Subhuman Race by Skid Row.
that's another interesting one too. But I can't put that one there because if you want my honest opinion, you could say "Slave to the Grind"
Yeah, but
compared to the first record.
Subhuman Race is even more. So they're actually like just chasing Pantera,
Oh, 100%,
and quite literally.
100%.
But I think with Warren, um, it's like they took the Uncle Tom's Cabin vibe and just kind of ran with it and ramped it up more.
Yes, yes.
And
And they got experimental on that record too,
yeah,
man. Like for us, for the
it played.
listeners should check that record out because
It's fun.
there's weird stuff on that record that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that choice. That's a good
Cool.
choice. My honorable mentions are interesting.
Okay.
Uh, um, suicidal tendencies, and the reason why I say suicidal is, where do you want to start? with Suicidal. Now I love Lights Cam. How Will I Laugh Tomorrow When I Came to Smile Today. I love that
Hmm.
record. I'm sorry,
Sure.
that was a Headbangers Ball record for me.
Yeah.
But from Join the Army to that, you could call that a Black Album. Then you go from there to Lights Camera Revolution,
Hmm.
right? Then you go from there to Art of the Rebellion.
Yeah.
And this is where this is going to factor into our conversation in a minute. But Suicidal is definitely on my um, list. Another one that's kind of interesting to me, even though I do like it. Um, can you say Seasons in the Abyss?
Yeah. It was in my brain.
Right? Because that's definitely a departure.
Hmm.
It's a pre-Black album, but it's the first record where it's not.
No, it's a dramatic shift.
Yeah, it's not chaotic.
No, I think it counts. That was one of the ones that popped in my brain was like I think Seasons because to be perfectly honest, I wasn't really into Slayer at the time.
Okay.
Um, but I had buddies who really were, and they were all kind of bummed out about Seasons when it
I
came out.
remember that.
And I actually was like, "Are you sure?" Because I think this is actually kind of good.
Yeah, and I liked it too because it was almost
So
like the most accessible Slayer for me
at the
at the
time, yeah.
time. Yeah,
I
and then
mean, no, it was South of Heaven was the one I was thinking.
oh, okay,
But I think that counts too
I
because
do, I do.
but I think Seasons is the because they kind of like South of Heaven. It's like they're dabbling in that, and it's less frantic, but like it's still pretty raw. In Seasons, it seems like they're like, no, this is where we're gonna pang, and they like found their footing. And I love that record. South of Heaven was the one I was thinking
That
of.
you were
That
thinking
I
of.
was like, I don't know, this is Slayer,
What a
like
gr- what a
cool,
what a
but
great riff South of Heaven is, though.
yeah.
Dude, it's just so
Dude,
good.
there's so many good songs on that album.
It just
Like,
yeah, dude. I mean, those guys could write the riffs, man.
isn't like
Just
Mandatory Suicide on that? And,
well, the other thing that's great about them is for all the guitar nerds out there, they harmonize in fourths,
yep.
which is such a weird thing to do. And that kind of gave them their sound away from a lot of those other bands at that time
Oh, for
period.
sure.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like people were not doing that. So here's my point, and we talked about earlier in the conversation. If you look at what happens after this, like let's take the big elephant in the room, and let's say Metallica Load and Reload, even though
Hmm.
they're like a year or two apart. I don't even know. They're all recorded at the same time, all the
Yes.
songs. Everyone cuts their hair. Everyone's wearing nail polish now. I don't have a problem with any of those things, but it's just weird to go from that to that. It just feels very calculated, right? Like no one has long hair now. Like everybody got a haircut all at the same time. Like was there a deal of
Hmm.
supercuts or something? Like there's not gonna be one guy that still just keeps his hair, you know?
Right.
Um, and then I think Metallica goes in this weird place because those albums were successful. There's
Hmm.
tunes like Until It Sleeps, King Nothing. There's probably
There's
four
a
or
lot of
five
hits.
tunes
I
that
mean,
just kind of
Fuel.
oh yeah,
Fuel is in
dabba
God,
dabba dabba.
boy, if I never hear that song again,
Oh,
I'd
dude,
be a happy camper. But like hits.
hits right.
Yeah.
And then you can also I'm trying to get to I'm looking at this right now, but like
What
because
else?
Megadeth fell off planet Earth for me at that time
Oh yeah.
period too, but Megadeth had hits too,
Hmm.
right? But then what ends up happening is they run out of stuff they're doing, and the next thing you know, they don't know what they're doing. And I
Yeah,
feel
they
like that,
lost their identity.
yeah, like that. I feel like that happened for Suicidal. I feel like that
Yeah.
happened for Megadeth. I feel like that happened for Metallica. I feel
Hmm.
like that definitely happened for Anthrax.
Definitely.
I mean, if you want to talk about any band that hurt the most, I think it's Anthrax.
I think that Anthrax has a long history of missteps.
Unfortunately, you know what I
And
mean?
I
But I
say
also,
that with all due respect
all due
because I do
respect,
like Anthrax, but
yeah. But you know what the funny thing about that band is like I always felt like they were like the kid brother in that scene.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and almost like I don't want to say they tried too hard because I obviously don't know anybody in Anthrax or whatever, but it just felt like, I don't know, man. I mean, I know eventually we're going to do a second big four of thrash
Yeah,
because it's
that'd be fun.
important. You know what I mean? And then if you line up those bands,
Yep.
like the Exodus and Forbidden, you know, like
Yep.
those, like
I mean, okay, so this will be a sneak preview, but I do
Overkill.
think that Anthrax was kind of chasing more than leading.
Yes.
And I think like I've read Scott's book. And so I kind of know that's true because he
Okay.
talks about how they got their deal from Johnny Z
Okay.
at Megaforce. And basically he would be like, listen to our demo. And he'd be like, it's not what and they would just like keep, and this is
Pounding
what
them.
you do,
Sure.
but like they kept tweaking and tweaking until it was like, it sounded like what they wanted it to, what it should sound like, I should say. And then they finally got his attention. But it was
Sure.
like, they had to fight really hard to be accepted.
Yeah.
And then like just across the way, there's Overkill.
Yeah.
And like Megaforce signed them, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Overkill's killer.
Yeah.
Uh, Overkill's not as successful. That's the difference.
Yeah. And there's a lot of those bands in that second tier
Oh yeah,
that should have been bigger than they were.
for sure.
And I think that shift killed a lot of those bands too,
Well, yeah,
personally,
and I think, but I like that some of them just didn't even bother.
which I loved because it
Yeah.
just showed like that integrity
Yep.
of like, this is who we are.
Yep.
And it's probably going to be scary, but I know there's people that still, it's like, you know, the other one, it makes me laugh, but it's so true. It's like some of those hair bands.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're still going to play what we want to play,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they just stuck to their guns. And I think that was the smartest thing. Or like,
Yeah, they just went to Japan and they were like,
yeah, exact Philippines and
it's
wherever,
fine.
right? It's
Yeah.
true. But you know, the other band that I think, because we could have a show on this and not even Rushmore, is the bands that pivoted in the other direction that they should have been pivoting to in the beginning. So like Tesla, Cinderella, like those bands, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like they were put in the category they didn't belong in, and these guys were just they really just love 70s
Yeah.
rock. And like
Yeah.
they wrote good songs, both of those bands. And I think when
Mm-hmm.
they settled into that stuff, like both of those bands, and they still had careers. I mean, Tesla actually did pretty good in the early 90s when they shouldn't have. Not
Yep.
because the songs weren't good, just
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of the
That was
climate.
over. Yeah.
And I kind of feel the same way about Cinderella. Like in the early
Yeah.
90s when they were doing their thing and it was just like bad timing, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I mean, there's good songs. And
Sure.
I think that's where those bands succeeded, where a lot of these metal thrash bands did not, because the whole point of what I'm saying is it's like, let's take the leap of faith. And then you realize, oh, fuck, I didn't put my parachute on.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened. And then I think some bands righted the ship. I think Testament righted the ship.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I think some bands did. I loved the Anthrax comeback record with Joey, the first one.
Yeah. That one's
I
good.
really dug that album. And then I think some bands just like Metallica, I'll get some hate. I don't give a shit. Like, I feel like that band was in just nowhere land for decades. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just not knowing what the hell. And then by the time they're figuring out what the hell, it's not, it's not. I don't, I mean, look, there's going to people that are going to be arguing. I know people personally that will argue with me over this,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like that band's last legs, in my opinion, is the Black Album. There's a couple tunes I like on that record. And then after that, it just kind of like, you just see the ship sinking, but there's so many of that people in that new fan base that love what they're doing. And every time they put out a record, because I really feel like a lot of my DNA is ode to Metallica. Perfect. I mean, I really do. Like, I cut my teeth on those first four records like crazy when I was a young little impressionable guitar player. So I will always give any new Metallica record a chance. And every time I
Mm-hmm.
do it, I'm like, good try. every time.
Yeah.
And there's not a record that I've just gone, oh, and it's just my personal opinion. Come at me with the pitchforks. I don't give a shit. But it's just like,
I don't think you're saying anything that out of line.
well, in like the time period too, man. Like I grew up with that band.
Yeah.
And when you can't grow with that band anymore, it's hard to like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
No,
just,
I mean, look, I will bash Metallica like shamelessly.
yeah,
Um, Especially, yeah, post Black. I mean, like you said, I think there are good songs arguably on the Load Reload album.
sure.
But those, to me, it's like it's not Metallica.
It's not Metallica. That could easily be a James Hetfield's fucking
It just
solo record.
becomes something else, rock Metallica, you know. And then yeah, we get to fucking Saint Anger and then like Death Magnetic. I just remember thinking it's like, so you decided that you wanted to try to sound like you again?
That's exactly. And I would hear little snippets in the beginning going, oh, this is kind of cool. But then I'd hear the whole song and go, oh, yeah, no. Like I
No,
always felt like there's parts that sounded, I was like, yeah. And then it's like I could never make it through a whole entire song with that same,
no,
like, yeah. It was like, no. You know what I mean? Like, or even Saint Anger, dude. Saint Anger has some fucking cool ass riffs, but there's just so much disjoint. I call it the midlife crisis Metallica record.
sure.
It's
Well, I've seen
so
the movie,
it's
so.
so disjointed, even before you see the movie.
Mhm.
Like when you hear it, and I'm like, that's a fucking badass riff. And they're tuned like C sharp on some stuff. I'm like, that's fucking cool. And then the drums come in, you're like, just okay.
Yeah,
Or like you'll be like, okay, just don't listen to the drums too hard. And then I'll hear James and go, what? Like, what are
yeah.
we doing? And like, look, I will say this, okay? God's honest truth. If we
Mhm.
ever got to the point we ever had anybody on from Metallica, like that would be amazing. And
Sure, of course,
I would 100% want anybody on Metallica on this show.
of course.
I will also say this. I have a enormous amount of respect for that band for
Mhm.
still releasing new music and
Mhm.
not being a legacy band where we just milk our career for the songs that got us there. I have the utmost respect for them for that. I really do.
Yeah.
But and I will show a lot of respect for a lot of stuff. But I can also just be me and be like, I don't think you put out anything killer in a very long time. And it's okay. You know what I mean? But the thing that we've talked about, there are bands putting out great shit
Oh yeah.
decades later. So you
Yep.
cannot use that as an excuse.
No, no,
Literally.
it's not. Because yeah, I mean, New Testament record,
Yeah, New Testament record,
it's
the new
great.
Priest record's fucking great. The new
The
Cure record's great. I mean,
Yeah, there's old dogs doing things.
Corner.
Dude, the
That
corner.
Corner record's fucking amazing. And they didn't play together for what, 30 years or something crazy
30,
like that?
31 years or something like
I mean,
that. Yeah.
so it can be done. I
Hmm.
mean, the things, the snippets, that first Halloween record when like everybody was back in the
Yeah.
band, like that fucking record was
It's a cool
cool.
record.
You know what I'm
It
saying? Like
is.
it's not, it can be done. I mean, and I know you didn't listen
Well,
to them, but like Brave New World by Iron Maiden when they
yeah.
got Bruce and Adrian back, great fucking record in my
No,
opinion.
that was cool. Yeah.
I mean, it can be done. So those excuses kind of have to disappear.
I think that just to alleviate the Metallica talking or shit talking from you, and I'll take some heat for it. I think the problem is that the bands that we're describing still have like some fire in their belly,
Yeah.
and there's still like intent and desire and hunger.
Yeah.
And you can think whatever you want about me or what I'm about to say, but I don't think Metallica has had real drive, fire in their belly or anything since Justice.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think they look, I think live they do. You know what I
Maybe.
mean? I see it. And
Probably on the Black Album tour, they still did.
they did for sure. I saw that tour 3 times.
Yeah.
It was a life changer for me seeing
Cool.
that band in the fourth row and
Yeah.
watching them do like Battery and Sanitarium and like the tunes I just loved as a kid, like
Sure.
Damage
Yeah.
Incorporated,
No, I get it. I mean,
you know. And
yeah.
I'm 17. I haven't
Yeah.
even moved out to Reno yet. Like
Yeah.
I don't even have my first proper band yet. And I'm just
Right.
like, I want to do this. Like that was cool. And so thank
Yeah.
you, James Hetfield. Like really.
Oh, dude.
Because
Yeah. I
watching
mean,
James for like 6 feet in front of me, like I
hmm
can still picture, that's what I love about music. I can still picture him doing Sanitarium. And I'm so close to him and I can see the red like spotlight on him while he's singing the mellow parts
oh,
of
the
that,
mellow
the
part. That's
verses, and I'm
cool.
just going, dude, like this is so attainable. Like, and it was
Yeah.
like, you know, at 17 it felt attainable, but it was like, yeah, like who am I kidding? This is what I want to do. So
hmm
like James, thank you for that for sure. But
Yeah.
I mean, and the thing too, I'll also say about this that's important because we can bash and we can whatever and just give our opinions really, but like
Yeah. Yeah.
I also do think your life changes like drastically and dramatically. And I think that there's a band like that that has gotten so unbelievably huge, like that does affect your DNA. And I do believe it just, you almost are not in reality anymore.
No, I think that's the key thing I was going to say is I think that when they achieved the like monster success
Yeah.
of Black Album,
Yeah.
Load albums,
Yes.
you live in a bubble.
Yes.
Like in that kid
100%.
who was full of
100%.
piss and vinegar and like wanted to burn the world down is he changed.
Yeah. He's
And
gone.
like
He's long gone.
that's fine because
Totally.
I stopped caring about them after Garage Days the first time, the 598 EP.
Yeah.
I don't even like Justice.
Yeah. And
So
we've talked about that. I,
yeah,
I,
and I
I,
mean
Garage Days has got a special little place in my heart because
that's killer.
that was the first time I heard that record,
Yeah.
not knowing it was all covers
Yep.
in the bathroom of a Catholic school. I'm in
hmm
seventh grade, and
That's
we're
awesome.
all thinking we're rebels listening to this, and my brain's not computing what the fuck I'm listening to. Like that was pretty neat.
Yeah, but having said all of that,
Yeah.
and Lars being Lars and whatever, like I don't have Metallica is they're fucking Metallica. They're the
Yeah.
biggest metal band of all time.
And that
Period.
one, and I don't think that'll ever change.
No.
I think that will be like, I think they are now cemented in like the Black Sabbath, Led
Yeah,
Zeppelin,
no question.
Beatles. I feel like they are in that.
Yeah.
And the record that did it, ladies and gentlemen,
Black
what we
Album.
talked about with the Mount Rushmore, it was the Black Album. I don't care what anybody says. You can say the
Absolutely.
one video changed the game, and it did. The
hmm
one video
Yeah, but they
changed the game.
still
They still were the
Enter
Black
Sandman
Album.
changed the damn game.
Well, I'll tell you this. Enter Sandman was the big
hmm
punch, and then the uppercut was Nothing Else Matters.
Oh yeah.
And that was the when Nothing Else Matters hit the way Nothing Else Matters did. I think it was literally like this is the direction you have to go.
Yep.
Not even like they go back and there's no magnetic after that. There's no Saint Anger after that. It's like I don't even think they could be even allowed to play a record like that. I think it was literally the machine
hmm
was like, we are now tripling down on our money and
hmm
we're gonna and the crazy thing is Load. Here's that band is like should be studied, man. That band should be studied because they fucking defy logic.
Yes, they
Like
do.
you're the biggest band in the fucking world at that point.
hmm
You really are. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I think they still hold the record for the most albums sold from the sound scan on. I don't think Taylor Swift or anybody has outsold them still on the Black Album. I think the Black Album is the biggest selling record since SoundScan started in 91. Okay.
Yeah, I
You
think you're
are
right.
enormously fucking huge, right?
Yeah.
And then you don't put out a record for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like that's fucking wild. I mean, and I'm not talking about like Tool can get away with that because they're just Tool, but like, how do you go 5 years without putting out a record?
Well, they
And
were They were on tour for a lot of it.
Sure, and they're putting out
Um,
those little box setty things and whatever.
yeah,
And like, I get it, but like, dude, I mean, could you imagine Kiss after Destroyer going, we're gonna wait,
no, it wouldn't work.
6 years until we put out Rock and Roll Over. I think Rock and Roll Over was right after Destroyer, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Could you imagine the record company be like, no, fuck you, you're gonna give us two more albums this year?
Yeah,
I mean, that they defy logic. Lulu, Saint
yeah,
Anger. Like, if you would have told me Metallica was gonna be playing stadiums after that 1-2 punch,
yeah.
I'd be like, you're high. But they
Yep.
just defy logic, man. And that's why I wanted to do this Mount Rushmore today, because
Hmm.
I thought it'd be really interesting to talk about not only those bands that Metallica had that effect on, and the funny thing is Turbo could have totally had effect on Metallica because they're Priest fans.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
know for a fact they brought Bob Rock in because of the tone of Dr. Feelgood.
Yes,
I know
that is
that's
true.
exactly what happened, and that really was
No, it's true.
monumental too,
Yep.
because you can have the Enter Sandmans and the Sabatrues and Unforgivens and all that other stuff, but if they're produced like
Mhm.
Justice,
Yeah, no,
there's
not
so
gonna
many
work.
perfect storm scenarios in that
Oh
time
yeah,
period. I mean,
yeah.
it's
Well, it
wild.
sold over 30 million copies worldwide. In the US, it surpassed 20 million, and it was on Billboard Top 200 for over 800 weeks.
Wow, that's like Dark Side of the Moon fucking numbers.
It did 598,000 copies in the first week when it came out.
But you know what the best part about that is? The grunge bands dwarfed that number. Pearl
Yep.
Jam's Verses almost hit 1 million when it came out. It was
Yeah,
like
when it
nine
came
hundred
out,
like
yeah, it was huge.
38,000 copies in the
Yeah.
first week.
It apparently still sells roughly 5,000 copies a week.
That's so nuts. It's so nuts because it's like
Did over 500,000 copies in 2024.
it fucking went gold in
It went gold
2024.
in 2024.
That is absurd.
So Metallica is their own lane. They
That
are their own world.
that
And
is
if you are a member
absurd.
of it,
Yeah.
and they deserve it, I got
They and
no
that
issue.
dude, you know what? That's literally the best way to end this episode.
Yeah.
Is they deserve, and I will say one other thing before we choose what album we're going to listen to this week.
Hmm.
Um, they have been very good to the fans, and I don't know if this is because of the Napster thing, which was very bad,
Maybe.
but I respect the crap out of the volume of stuff that is basically free.
Hmm.
I mean, literally, I think that's like they don't have to do any of these things, and they choose to do them, and I respect that. And
Yeah.
you can, I mean, they were doing that long before, like they had to, if that makes sense. Where a lot of bands will
Yeah.
do that to sell vinyl for. Oh,
Yeah.
here's the 30th anniversary of this record, that record. I mean,
Hmm.
they almost took that Pearl Jam approach, the Grateful Dead
Yeah.
approach, where it's
No,
just
I was
like,
going to say
here's
the
a
dead
bunch of fucking
approach.
bootlegs. Here you
Yep.
go. And I mean, I respect the crap out of that.
Yeah.
All right, if you're going to listen to an album this week and I'm just going to pick one from the list of stuff we did.
Yeah.
I'm going to say listen to. Man, that's tough. Because I've done this a little bit. I've gone back and listened to some of these records over the last 6 months.
Hmm.
Um, listen to let's listen to Testament's one
Okay.
because that's one I can't recall much of. So I'd be interested to listen
Either.
to it and kind of go, all right, where does this fit with that? So that would be the one I'd recommend.
Okay. I'm going to go with Turbo
Good choice.
because I think as reviled as it was when it came out, I ended up liking it a few years later a little more.
Yeah.
But like now, it's kind of like retro cool to be into turbo.
Like the
But I
Elder.
think, yeah, but it's better than the Elder, to be fair, probably. um, Elder's a little more work, but I think that if you can just listen to it without being shocked by the production and the guitar synths and stuff, you'll find it's a really decent album, and there's good songwriting. They still sound like Priest if you strip away all that stuff in your ears, you know.
I like that.
Yeah.
Um, Ladies and gentlemen, this turned out to be a really fun
Yeah.
conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. Would love to see some of you guys on the Facebook group, Mixtapes Podcast
Yes.
group, because I think it'd be fun to hear from you guys and what you think. There's a lot of opinions that could be shared on this one, but I was fun taking that deep dive. I wasn't expecting Turbo. That was cool.
Thanks.
And then it was difficult to do because we both wanted to put Anthrax on there, but we realized John Bush was the new singer, and that
Yeah.
was one of the requirements. But that Anthrax record definitely fits in that Black Album. And I'm
Yeah.
sure we missed some other bands, but
Yeah.
the ones that were just
Usually.
popping into the head, just going, yep, 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 yep. And I think you guys can help us fill those blanks. So please do that.
Yeah.
Subscribe, like, share. Anything you want to add before we get out of here, sir?
No, I think that's about it. Thanks for stopping by.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said at the end of every show, be good to each other, be good to yourselves, and text a friend, see how they're doing, and tell them you found a great new podcast called Mixtapes. We'll talk to you guys soon.